Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And we got another hot one for you today. But before we get into all of that, Zoe's got some shout-outs.
Hey, shout out to all the real estate agents out there and all the property managers. You do a lot of work. You work hard. We appreciate you. Juanita, thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, what we're getting into today is building your team. So strap in. Let the Kings talk about it. All right, good people. Hey, welcome back, man, to another edition of Kingly Conversations. And as you all know, I am Alan. Every single week, I'm the same guy.
What up? It's your boy Twine, a.k.a. Hey, ask me about my podcast. Bum, 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 bum.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
All right, Calvin, it's your topic, man.
Yep.
You got it.
What's the topic,
Today's
man?
my topic. And I just sort of chose the title of Build Your Team, but I'm really just talking to entrepreneurs and people that have businesses or inspiring to start a business or something like that. And it's about building your team. And it was because a young lady I was talking to, Ariel, she's about 20-something, and she was asking for advice, and I was hesitant to give it to her because I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to, I'm not like the best person in the world to listen to when it comes to business advice or business management.
Okay.
So, but I thought about it. I was like, well, I can share my experiences or tips or different things that I have come across. And that's what this was inspired by the topic. And by all of us having a business and doing different things in our life, I feel like we could help advise or just give a little pointer direction in building the team and things to consider or to kind of look out for.
Okay.
And I just put bullet points, but I'm going to ask you guys first, what are some of the things, knowing what you know now, having the experience, life experience, business experience you've had, what would you tell somebody about building a team? What would be one of your biggest keys? What are some of the tips?
So,
Well, first of all, I will say that some people, in regards to building a business, they're good as far as doing what they do without building a team. But for me personally, in my experience, I realized that I need people because they know more information than I do. So depending on what type of business you're doing, you want to have people that's knowledgeable in the areas and expertise that you don't know. So I always will say if you're building a team, have people that's smarter than you around you to help educate you and direct you, because I don't know what I'm doing. People ask me, I'm going to be honest, I don't. The only thing that I know is that I need to do something. Mm-hmm. So when I just get the ball rolling, whatever I need to do on my part, I'll do. But I know that I'm going to need people. If you're doing real estate, I would advise getting a property manager, getting an accountant, getting like a CPA or something like that, as far as books and all that good stuff. Lawyers, definitely, because you want to protect what you have going on now and in the future. And then as far as financial wise, you want to build things like having an LLC, getting into the S corp once you get to a certain amount, and then we talked about it earlier, like a trust fund that protects all that, like an umbrella for umbrella type thing. So those are some of the things, man. Just having people around that know what they're doing. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to network, because, you know, people like to put on a facade like they know stuff, but they really don't. And I am not one of those persons that will do that as far as putting on a facade. Alan, what you got, man?
I mean, to me, the biggest thing is, in terms of advice, is don't be afraid to change your team. Don't be afraid to change your team. Just because a lot of the time your initial the team you start out with may be good enough to get you to a certain spot, but they may not be good enough to get you to the whatever that next level is that as entrepreneurs you're generally shooting for. You normally you have goals, you have aspirations. You like, I want to see the company grow. I want to see the enterprise grow. And the people that you initially start out with may not be the people to take you to that next level, but it's a constant process. And you have and the thing is, the people that are with you need to know that, listen, we may change this team up. It's still all done in love or whatever, but we're going to continue to go here, and I just don't think that in this particular endeavor you're going to be the best person to get us there. And usually that'll be borne out by some level of you can tell, like some level of facts. Like, it's not one of those things where you just wake up one morning and it's like, oh, Johnny might not be able to handle where we're trying to get to. It's usually this person has been a hindrance, so to speak. Not necessarily like a heavy hindrance, but it's like, oh, okay, they're not really especially like say in real estate, and they're a framer, but then they're you've got 4 or 5 projects going on, and they're like, oh, I can't handle 4 or 5 projects. Well, maybe Johnny's not the person to stay on the team. Or maybe they get smaller jobs and you bring somebody else on the team to do
multiple contracts. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when we say build your team, understand that team grows, and the team is a living entity. So it will grow and it will change with time based on where you, as the driver of the ship, is trying to go.
And also, I think what he's referring, or just to piggyback off of what he said, communication is also something that's very important when building your team. Because if there is something that is missed or misinterpreted in building your team, it could be detrimental. Mm-hmm. So when you communicate, make sure you communicate clearly and make sure that everybody understands what the goal is or what the objective is and what you're trying to complete. Or if something goes wrong, you want to be notified so things can be taken care of before it gets out of control. So that's something else.
That was a bullet point too.
What's that?
I'm trying to find that one. That was a good one.
Communicate?
Yeah, also, it wasn't communicate, but it's along the same lines. Go ahead.
I got you. As far as setting ground rules for your team, I haven't gotten to that point just yet because, like I said, I'm still learning. I don't know everything. So my drive is based on the knowledge of other people. And when I get that knowledge, I then do my own research to make sure everything lines up, and then we'll go from there. But setting rules for your team, I think, is a good thing to do. And I think I need to go to the drawing board and do some of those things in regards of setting rules, because the one point here, it says, I just saw it, but it was like, know or make sure that you clear down all that. I just said that. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. That's okay. The one you hit.
Yeah.
You hit that.
Okay, my bad.
And you do. I mean, at the end of the day, you do need to set ground rules. So now, to me, when I think ground rules, it's sometimes it's tough to set quote unquote ground rules with other entrepreneurs, because a lot of times these people that are on your team are going to be other entrepreneurs,
right?
Who will have their own teams outside of yours. So, as an example, if you are talking about an attorney, well, that person may be the owner of a law firm, but you need to find out where. Okay, if we have documents, or we've got a question, or we've got what can we expect? I guess that would be the expectations for this working relationship. What are the expectations of in the case of an attorney? What's the expectation of turnaround time once we reach out? What's the expectation of compensation for services rendered? Because last thing you want is not to know that information. All of a sudden, you get a bill for $50,000.
Knowing your partner, as far as I'm paraphrasing, who you get in bed with, basically, in regards of building your team. Well, that's bad. That is so
No,
bad.
that's
I'm
right.
sorry. It's just a cliche saying. I don't want nobody to misinterpret, but you and your partners.
Hopefully, you're not getting in bed with him, but
Yeah, that's
well,
not,
you might be. I don't know.
He said
Do
you
what
might
you do.
be.
Me and Ashley's a partner.
Well,
business.
you in the
I
bed with him.
understand.
But I did. But again.
But in general, you want to have
Like you
just
said,
know the
some sense of
people.
idea of who you're dealing with.
Yeah. And when it comes to friends, are there friends in, as far as building teams?
But this was one of my biggest points.
Favoritism?
Was keep in mind your friends are your friends. They're not your business partners. Most of the time, business partners have a common goal. This is your goal.
Mm-hmm.
This is your objective.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to meet the objective.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your friends are your friends. There's no objective to a friendship other than have common unity, common bond, fellowship for whatever reason. So when you're approaching a business, it's more of, okay, this is what we're trying to accomplish. Some people can't handle that kind of pressure of, okay, this is a friend, but this is what we're trying to accomplish. If this is not being accomplished, this isn't going to work business-wise. We still have a friendship. A lot of people don't manage that well.
Mm.
That's why I try to tell her, hey, okay, your friends are your friends. They don't have the same common goal into achieving this objective. And they don't have the same thought pattern for your business. And if they do,
too.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
You
friends,
shouldn't have
family,
Yeah,
whatever.
you shouldn't have somebody in your business that thinks the exact same way you do. That, to me, I found that doesn't work well.
And that's why I
See,
said
yep.
you gotta
Yep.
be. That's why I said you gotta be willing to change your team.
Yep.
Okay.
You got to be willing to change that team.
Because if in the early beginnings, those people might be friends, because you don't have anybody else that you can reach out to as a team. But then over time, you start to develop. Okay, nope, that's not gonna in this environment. That's not gonna work. Let me find somebody who is professionally does this thing to add to the team.
Think about it this way, because I saw your question when I said it. Think about solving problems. Okay, there are 1,000 problems coming up on your business. Okay, if I can solve these 10, why do you need to solve the 10? I don't need you. I need you to solve the 10 I can't answer. I might know what the problem is.
So
But-
different mindset with the same goal.
Right, but because we're trying to achieve this.
Okay.
But these are the problems coming up in between achieving this. So if you're solving the same problems I'm solving, what are you here for? One of us got to go.
I get it now.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
because I was having a
Yeah, because
issue
you said a
understanding
common.
because when you initially said it, it sounded to me like, yo, if you don't think the way I think, then I don't need you. That's
No.
That's what I perceived
If
it,
you
but
don't-
now I understand.
If you don't think like I think,
Yeah.
I need you.
Got it.
I want you on the team with the understanding that this is the objective.
Got it. Okay, I'm on the same page now.
Yeah.
Maybe I had selective hearing at the moment.
Okay.
All right.
So also to add on to selecting your setting your ground rules, this is more or less on for me. You go in with one of the things in the business plan is dissolving. At the end of it, it's on how you would dissolve your company in the case that it went bankrupt or whatever else. It gives you setting ground rules. It gives you a plan on how to end something when there is a disagreement or when there's a major problem. That way, in that heat of frustration or problem, because you got to think about it. If you were losing $1 million, how would you feel? You would be kind of at odds. But that setting ground rules gives you a plan in place before the problem. That's one of the biggest things that I found out. Having the plan before the problem. That's what I mean with setting ground rules. Having a way to communicate through the issues before the issues.
Okay. I like it. So that kind of dove into delegate problems, solving tasks to solving tasks.
Yeah, solving tasks to the teams.
As a team or to the team?
delegating problem solving tasks to the team.
Okay, got it.
So again, that's where I'm saying, like, if you're doing the same thing I'm doing, why do I need you?
Got it.
So you should be able to delegate. Okay, so if you doing something with a team, you should be able to delegate certain tasks, problem solving tasks that help move closer to achieving the objective. You should be able to delegate that. If you can't delegate to your team, why are they there?
But some people in that role, as far as trying to build a team, they expect the team to just come up with a solution to the problem to do it versus you delegating.
Okay, but and that's where it's important for you as a visionary, as an entrepreneur, as a leader. You have to see the problems. You have to have the
big picture.
The big picture in mind to see, okay, these are the things that I see, but I can't spend time to take care of that. So I need to be able to delegate that, even though I see that's the problem. That keeps the ball rolling. That keeps things moving. That keeps your team involved. That keeps a lot of things engaged so that you're not bogged down.
Got it.
And if you can't delegate to your team, that's why I said build a good team. Build a solid team. And like Alan said, you're going to have to sometimes you have to constantly evolve the team until it gets to that sweet spot to where we're moving at a pace to where the leader or the visionary sees, okay, this is it. This is how it should be. Mm-hmm. And those are just some tips. Those are big things, man.
Well, I like it. I like it. And in regards of building your team will have ideas, suggestions in regards of trying to get to the goal or the objective. And as a person that's building a team, you definitely have to be open-minded to those ideas and suggestions to help get to that goal and get to that objective. Mm-hmm. For example, having a rental property, and you do have like a property manager, and they tell you, hey, this is going on, but I have an idea to how to, work around it and still be good. So that's something that I see a note here as far as considering ideas and valuing those ideas, because that will help in regards of that team that you're trying to build.
Mm-hmm. So that checks off that encouraging listening and brainstorming.
Okay.
Encourage that.
I like it.
What did you just put?
So it says, beware of employees/volunteers' unspoken feelings.
Yeah, that's one I learned. That's one I learned.
Also,
to be aware. You remember when we talked about selfishness?
Yeah.
You see things and think things from your own perspective.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with employees and volunteers, you should be considerate of other people's perspective, lives, time, and everything else, which a lot of people aren't. But you should be. That's one of the biggest things that I found out over the years. You should be, especially time. Like when you have volunteers, they're unpaid. You're not using money to get them to do. So you're using their time, their willingness of time. So to be considerate of that mm-hmm. and not waste people's time, to me, is important. You should be conscious of how you're using people's time, because that's the most valuable asset you have is your time. And some people don't understand that, don't realize that, but your time is precious. So make sure you're doing something important with it, and you're using other people's time. So make sure you're being effective. Go ahead.
As far as the feelings, though, unspoken.
Yeah, feelings? You should be aware of it. You should be aware of how they feel. Even though it's unspoken. Okay, like I said, for me.
So is that something as a leader of a team that you're building, is that your responsibility to
Be considerate.
initiate a conversation about their feelings.
You can, but most of the time you can
Read
put a
the
little
body
thought
language and all that.
Yeah, but like I said, the simple act of being considerate of people's feelings, thinking about that goes a long way. Expressing appreciation and gratitude goes a long way.
Well, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. All right, let me say it out here live. Well, it ain't live, but it's recorded. I appreciate y'all.
A lot of times the entrepreneur won't notice because they're consumed or focused on driving the ship towards that goal. And so they won't see that other people are like,
Right.
So, yeah.
That's one of my things. I try to at least that, because most of the people really only want to do work or really only want to do something for money.
Something that benefits them?
Yeah, something that benefits. That's that self-interest thing again. So
fiscally?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, closing thoughts, man. Cue the music.
Closing thought. Take your time and build a good team.
Yes, Lord!
Take your time. That's the one tip I want to do for this episode. Take your time and build a good team. And you do have to adjust. You will have to make changes. So don't be afraid to make the changes. Do it. Because you want to build a solid team to help get you to where you're trying to go.
To build a team, you got to start. How about that? Just start. A lot of people out there, they want to do certain things, but they haven't even started yet. They have the ideas, they have the big picture of what they want to do. However, they never take action. It's all talk. So take action.
Hey, the best teams out there, man, they change players over time until they produce a team that can win a championship. The only thing that doesn't change is the owner. Players change. Everybody else changes around that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be malicious or anything else. It just means, hey, this wasn't the fit that we needed. Anything I can do for you in the future, I'll do my best to take care of that. But we're gonna have to go in a different direction. Now, these are not necessarily employees. Like I said, the team is whatever the team is. It could be volunteers. It could be other business owners on your team. But you might have to change your team out from time to time. That's all I got. See y'all next week.
You.